Welcome back, everyone, to the Rainbow Rumble.
That's who you want as your opening pick.
Duck could dive around this bomb chassis, and he will win his one. Oh, vaulting the catwalk on the side of Booster, but it's going to be a flurry of kill feeds.
This is looking pretty good, but that's good for Mercury.
Basically, it's passion.
Gets the diffuser down. Shed there with a covering angle as well. Jacques now removed. Got one back, but can't quite get away from it.
He gets the kill, and it's a 1v1 weapon.
It is siege, isn't it?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our wonderful Sunday broadcast. It is the final matchup of EML Challenger Series, and so far you've had pretty much constant coverage since we finished our broadcast yesterday. Went to SAL, to NAL, to APL, and now we're back in Challenger Series in EML. I'm back with my friends Gibson and Whippet. Gentlemen, how are you doing on this lovely Sunday?
I can't wait for it. I had to butt in here, Gibby. Listen, it's been a big one. I was sitting watching the games yesterday and super impressed with how they came out and played. Gigliotti, a massive standing ovation you have to give them. A roster who took a 3/5 Italian core from previous matchco, exited EML, rebuilt with Riaz on the team and Zoran, and they managed to find a way back into the top flight. Huge performance, and they've sent Maestro down to the lower bracket, and this is where things get dangerous. No lifelines, no safety nets. It's down to a single best of 3 for promotion.
Yeah, I couldn't get over how many people didn't have Gigi in their top twos. Like, to me, it was they were a lock-in for qualifying back to EML, and they made it there. But look, all the regions have been crazy. Like, I watched SAL yesterday. I got massive flashbacks to the old LATAM South days when you had, like, a core of players that Whippet and I casted all the way up through that region's development. But look, this weekend, if anything, is proof that you can never have too much of a good thing. You can never have too much siege.
Honestly, you just have constant siege all the time, which is exactly why we are here, because it's 24/7 siege. That's basically what this channel has turned into over the past week or so, and that's sort of the competition that we're living through. We all grew up, I guess, watching Challenger Series. We grew up casting Challenger Series in all of its formats over the years, and there's just something about seeing this fresh blood coming up in competitive siege in every region, but especially in Europe, that really gets you going. You're like, hey, you know what? I want to do this myself. I want to be part of it in one way or another. And I tell you, between all three of us and our production team, everybody here has lived and breathed siege ever since they were either a kid or a teenager or as an adult the moment the game was really out. So you see it's really burning behind that passion through everything that we're doing. Speaking of which, let's talk about our bracket. Let's send it up there. And both of you gentlemen, we're talking about the results of yesterday. Gigliotti making it to EML, back actually into EML, as you said, with slight changes, but still an Italian roster back in Tier 1 competitive play. We'll see if they'll get picked up by an organization. I have a couple in mind. Maybe they'll be interested. But Secret Academy and Maestro Esca are our focus. There's still one more slot for EML, and it comes down to these two teams that dominated in their own way. You could have flipped a coin, and either one of these would have already been qualified for EML, but only one of them today, Gibby, is going to make it out.
Yeah, only one of these two teams, and people look at the name Secret Academy and obviously go, oh yeah, you know, this is an org, we want to back them. And you look at the team, right? You have players like Asa, you have players and they're like Lems who have experienced Tier 1. But don't sleep on Maestro Esca. They more recently had just as many people playing in Tier 1, like when you consider Evan was there last time around, you'd Ghost Riddick. And even more importantly, Whippet will agree with me, even players like Jay, Den, they've all got experience playing in LANs, like Den Tier 2 finals experience, and Jay played, you know, at a international semi-final for huge money years back.
That's very true. You know, these are players that aren't necessarily going to be scared of the brightest lights, and Jay actually in more recent competition was a member of the Nemesis roster that went to Malta Cyber Series, which found a few upset results there with his teammate Den from that event as well. But I really want to kind of focus in a lot from what we've seen from Maestro Esca. They've shown a lot of what they can do, and the biggest concern, and I was speaking to a few players yesterday about this, is their depth of play. Can they, from under 12 hours from the end of their last game to now, get themselves back and ready to go? Because they've shown a lot of their hands. There was a massive match for them, upper bracket qualifying game, so they really didn't hide anything. Secret Academy can sit there knowing they have a day off, they know they can sit in the lower bracket and wait. Does this affect how Maestro Esca can play? Because right now, With Evan on the IGL, they have a very unique identity, but that's that team's identity, and it did get countered yesterday. What can Secret Academy do to maybe slow down the hopes of a potential promotion for this side?
So actually, we'll have to dig into the map vetoes for it because it's going to have a big impact. Both of these teams have played in and out many matches, especially in this case, Team Secret Academy have gone through the lower bracket. That adds a couple extra games to their list. We're going to go to Clubhouse, Bank, and a Border, Gibby.
Yeah, look at the ban straight away. Whippet and I looked at Fortress and Lair and said they're going to be removed by Team Secret Academy. They have banned Fortress and Lair 1 and 2 every single game they've played so far in this bracket. So it's no surprise to see them gone after the nightmare on Chalet yesterday. It's normal enough to see Chalet moved as well by Maestro Esca. But I think all 3 of these maps are going to test completely different aspects of your game. Map number 1, Clubhouse, is your basics. But Bank yesterday, I feel like with Maestro Esca got found out a little bit with that lack of a plan B, plan C.
The Bank pickup from Team Secret Academy is 100% an awareness of the preparation. Gibson, I mentioned to you a little bit earlier this morning that this stage, this very first map in this veto, is more of a test of your coach and support staff, and I think both teams have steered this in a very directed way. You mentioned the Fortress ban. 4 times so far it's been the number 1 preference ban coming out from the side of Team Secret Academy. They did not want to go here, especially from the showing from Maestro Esca yesterday. Massive defensive structures, difficult to break down, didn't want to have that. They've steered it towards maps where both teams should have a fair understanding. Clubhouse, we've talked about it before on our opening day, way more default, way more understood. Bank figured out yesterday, and Border is the big one for me. Can we see this go to 3 maps? If it does go to 3 maps, the side with the more aggressive playstyle tends to do better, especially on denial of entry on the defense. Maestro Esca are looking at this and maybe thinking, could be a survival job to get to map 3.
Well, I want to zoom out from zoom in from the macro for just a moment here. So we're talking about the entire map pool, the way that they're playing. But if I'm out there and I don't know any of the players in here, I don't know who's playing what are players that I need to be watching during this game that have to perform in their own way, in their own role with me?
Well, the big thing for me is going to be Evan. Evan is the lifeblood of going into this from the IGLing side, and that's where he needs to be good. Mechanically, he has struggled a little bit. And I think that's going to be the aspect he wants to improve on. We know his calling is there. We know his shot calling is very on point for his team, following up that aggressive play style. Can he get his micro working? And for the terms of going to Secret Academy, I'm looking at the players that I want to stand up tall. And obviously we can look at, it's easy to go. We want to see someone like Alems with that historic name do well. But I wanted these younger players like Asa, like Feno, to really stand up, who were so effective in previous results. I think they got a chance to do really well and kind of put a bit of a stamp on how good this team and these players can be.
Yeah, I like that you highlighted Asa because you and I had a chat with Leland a few years back whenever that Wolves roster were looking to pick up a player who could really step up their game, and Asa was one of the 2 that they elected to go for, and things didn't really go the way they would have wanted after that for the player. But this is their chance to get back into the fray and show the ability that really convinced someone like Leland to give them a chance. But Whippet, I'm going to talk about somebody else on the side of Maestro Esca. I think Jay has got a really important job, right? Yes, Evan's the IGL, but one thing that we know about some of the players on this roster, like Evan and like Den, is sometimes the weight of expectation and the whole weight of the event can get to them. And we saw that a little bit yesterday with the performance in the last few maps. So I think Jay, as the most experienced player on the roster, has to be the mental leader, not the end-game leader.
You say, Jay, I will raise you one on the other side. We cannot forget the hammer that is Marteau, who has consistently, no matter what, delivered kills aplenty for his team.
Has been super effective. And the big thing about all this is there's 2 different team approaches looking at this. You have obviously a team that's built around legacy in terms of LMs. I think a stat that people often forget is that during what I'm going to call one of the most successful times of that BDS core roster was when he was on it. They win at Gamers 8, then they follow up the Yonchiping major win almost directly afterwards. That is, you could almost say, in terms of trophy cabinets, one of the most dominant times that core has ever had. So they actually picked up a major there, not falling to a second place trap, which unfortunately we've seen a lot of recently. And they have that legacy around that, and they've kind of built around that core leadership of the old school style of play with young gunners to back this up. Then they have this newer approach where you have your kind of tier 2, tier 3 veterans with Evan with that tier 1 experience and that IGLing core. And I really want to highlight just how good his IGLing is. If you watch any of the co-streams covering Games 3 Open qualifiers, everyone's been talking about this is Evan. He's got hands this event and he might be the gatekeeper of tier 1 this season. He's been fantastic from it, but it's very interesting the stylistic clashes I think both these teams are going to provide.
Yeah, but he needs to show up. Like, yes, the IGLing is really good from him, but again, we spoke about the fact that if you've seen one Maestro-esque attack, you've seen them all. I think he needs to he needs to show up with his gun, right? I think it was 1 in 10 in the make or break game yesterday. But again, he's an adult. He came out after the match and said, look, I didn't play well enough. I let my team down. I will do better. What better way to show up than to come the very next day and exercise those demons?
That is a very good point, because we have gotten to a certain point in competitive Siege where just being able to call properly is not enough, right? There's that tier where you have a lot of young gunners out there that are coming out and they're putting so much effort and so many higher numbers on the board that you just need to go above and beyond. You need to be basically the weight of 2 players as an IGL, and that is not easy at all. But it's time to prove what you're made of. Maestro-esque versus Team Secret Academy is about to begin. The winner of this best of 3 makes it to EML. No pressure whatsoever. And of course, Skippy and Whippet to bring you into it. Have fun.
Most of the marathon to make it to EML has now been run. It is a sprint between these final 2 sides to find the last spot in the upper echelons of Tier 1 Siege. Whippet, Maestro-esque taking on Team Secret Academy. It's either going to be a fully French roster or the most, I guess, European-wide roster that we have in the scene going head-to-head for that last spot.
I really am looking forward to this matchup, Gibson. I went to sleep with kind of a stated level of anticipation and excitement for this one. Really curious about how this result would go. To get ready for this one. Of course, if you've been watching Siege for a tremendously long time, you know this matchup, the final spot for EML, or every other iteration of our top flight, has always delivered, always delivered a nail-biting matchup, and I have a guarantee that they will do it this time around. The bans coming out from both these sides, and I think a very directed gameplay approach from both these sides. Maestro-esque, they've taken away your Kaid, they've taken away the Bandit, very directed, denying the wall denial. Eventually, they want to open up the hatches, they want to open up the walls, they don't want to be slowed down by that process, and that lines up perfectly with this gameplay approach of this team.
It's a throwback to what we would have seen in the last time you and I were on the bike together, where what this does is change the way the map is going to be played. Yes, Mira is in play, but it means that you'll see a lot more roaming from the defensive side, and that's what we're seeing early on, right? But it's par for the course on basement. 2 defenders on site, the other 3 extending all the way up to the top floor, forcing Maestro-esque to clear this map section by section. But when you've got Den on the Blackbeard, you know he is going to work on clearing quick, because one thing about Den, you and I know, is he is all gas, no brakes.
Small pivot away from the normal roles we saw yesterday. Den was normally playing the same role that Evan's on right now, but they swapped it up. I think Evan opting to maybe want to be off the shields today, giving that role to Den. Rancor picked away from the Snake, realizing that I think they're going to gain more value from a dedicated hard breach here. We spoke about it a little bit on Thursday. Drones can essentially do the same job Solid Snake unless you build around him. They didn't want to commit to a full build around that information game. Roam presence begins to fall away already, not committing to a full upstairs extension. Ghost Drake will pop that first as Lion scans, get some information. At this stage, Maestro-esque have done a good job. They scouted out the middle floor, they likely have drones on the top floor, and they can begin to move with confidence, knowing that they can open up hatches and roam clear. Well, what roam clear?
Yeah, they've just gone directly for it. The hatches are now being opened, which is an important part of what they want to do with the Lion, with the Blackbeard. Evan, you spoke about his role. His role in particular will be to clear that AK's position once they get full control of kitchen and that hatch. So Marteau is the target for the Blackbeard, but look at Fino. And Feno, he's... Oh, there, that's better, but he's starting to creep up those stairs. He wants to maybe get himself a free kill, and he's just going to do that. Jay, the first one to fall in this lower bracket final.
That's a freebie you just don't want to give away, and such an easy one to counter. Now, the problem begins to build up now from Maestro-esque. You lose that first pick. Your verticality, mostly established at this stage, but the massive denial now set up by Team Secret begins to play effect. You have the mirror windows facing towards your main stage, which your Hibana can clear, but more importantly, Fino, with these Goyo canisters, can just stop you walking in. So he has got like 20 seconds of denial by that wall, and this is going to be a very difficult take now. They might commit themselves dropping down this hatch in the C4 over the top. First one doesn't connect. Looked like the second one was prepped for it. Maestroeska be aware of it.
Yeah, this is really good. Dan's putting pressure on main stairs while the rest of the team focus on hatch, but Feno gets another one. It's Dan this time to fall, but Ghost Riddick will trade that back. 30 seconds to go. Evan still has all the utility in his pocket that he can use, but he's going to need to start speeding things up here. Main stairs as well. Still not full control gathered by the side of Maestroeska. 15 seconds. Ghost Riddick pushing down. Misses the opportunity to get the kill on the Mira. That's going to stall things even more. Evan making it a 3v3, but a big C4. 2v2 now. 7 seconds to go. Suddenly, this is winnable. They dip into the corner whip, and Evan's going to work on getting the case down.
Cover has to be perfect. A technical 1 versus 1, but he loses it. Mardo gonna go huge. Nitro Cell goes deep. It's not perfect. The DMR misses from Evan, and you feel like for a moment there was a flash of hope for Maestroeska. Denied by Mardo. As Milosh said, one of those players who could be so impactful, the hammer for his team. Well, he put the final nail in that round, and he locks out with an easy defuse. Evan, almost thankful that C4 didn't end him. Gets the case down. Had a hope. Did not work out in the opening round with the defense. Goes for Team Secret Academy. Good start for them, but Maestroeska, a slower approach from them. Obviously, Clubhouse going to provide different issues to what we saw on the maps played yesterday in their upper bracket matchup. It looked a little bit slow out of the traps. Would you agree, Gibson?
Yeah, but my big one on that one is just the fact that Evan wasn't rifle ready. He knew that his teammate had just died from the double door, and instead of swinging and taking on the fight, you saw it. He sprinted away. Yes, he was afraid of the C4 getting the kill, but you had him dead to right, so but the chance to win the round was there. And Evan, yes, he's got 1 kill, but you feel like that round might just be one that has slipped away from the side of Maestro Academy. But for Team Secret, really big. You know, Milosh highlighted Marteau at the start of the game and the impact he'll have. He got 2 huge kills when it mattered most.
Mardo, Fino, players that should, I think, stand up the tallest from that one. That round really did weigh on their shoulders. Vinko finds a pick in the midst of the chaos from that. And upstairs you go to gym bedroom. Different approach this time for the defense. The same kind of idea, stalling out, and you want to have an onion peel style defense. You want to have that initial setup. You want to hold CCTV and cash. You want to then bait everyone to fall towards your construction hold, supported by the mirror windows in logistics. They also have the Goyo canisters from that point, so you think about the amount of layers of denial that's going to get set up here from Secret. They have to push in from CCTV. They have to get that control, then construction, then Logi, then main bridge. It's all another layer. But this will disrupt it. The Twitch drone will clear one of those Goyos out by construction door. Help speed the process up just a little bit.
Speed, though, of getting all the walls open is the most important part with it. You've got Jacuzzi open nice and early. Next up, you got to open up that con wall, put pressure on the cache. Like, the fact that there's no real denial of utility means that Maestroeska cannot waste round. Linku, though, will get the opening kill as Ghost Riddick, another Italian looking to join the rest of his old teammates inside a tier 1. Falls early, and but that's the Nomad. That's your flank watch gone, so all of a sudden, more resources will be needed later on the round to keep an eye on Big Garage, keep an eye on those red stairs in case someone from Secret Academy goes for a flank.
XCOM wall opened up now. Big fan of how they initially dealt with that Jacuzzi wall, by the way. The smoke grenade from Evan through the drone hole means that they can throw the Selmas with ease to open up what would be a default mirror position. All posturing up from these windows. You have to be careful. With CC control gathered, though, they should be safe from the runouts. Everyone from the side of Team Secret Academy have fallen back, so that construction cutoff gains no value at this point. Damage done by Linko. You can't contest that. DMRs from the window. Cranker finds 1. Feno finds that trade. And yet again, he's been standing tall. Lion scan goes up, but he doesn't care. He'll get himself pinged. But no one from that main breach applies pressure, so at this stage, you can play fairly comfortable inside of showers. You know no one's out by Jacuzzi. That might be a decision has to be made to make that rotate late.
Can't vault in the window either with the fact that the pivot holes are there, and now we're getting some pressure in bottom garage, and that will be Marteau downed and felled. Now he's down, right? Don't waste the time, Evan, and going to confirm that kill. Nobody's going to go for the res, so just let sleeping dogs lie. But look, Dan's a thirsty boy. He'll kill.
Dan wanted it.
Yeah, he'll confirm out the kill. But at this point, you've still got a real stronghold in sight. That mirror window with those footholes inside a gym bedroom is a real issue. And look at that. It's phenomenal from Feno.
He has been the man of the hour so far on Clubhouse. 4 in 1. The Goyo is burning from that gym window. Jump in, denies this, and the DMR peeking that window. Actually, no, that's Evan's AR. This makes it difficult to vault himself in the bathroom. Has complete safety here. The push coming from windows and construction. He can play a dance around this. Evan's vaulted in. He can play by island. And perhaps he might try and stick this. He's going to go for an alt plant position. Not going to go for that default. He creeps on in, but Feno catches him. Finds himself a second. Feno going huge for Team Secret as per usual. The man on Clubhouse cannot be stopped. And a second consecutive round from Team Secret Academy.
Oh, the fans phenomenal would be what they'd be chanting right now after that huge round from the Frenchman. 2-0 whip it. Maestro Esca stalled out once more. Even in the first round when they got the case down, it wasn't clean. It was messy. It was a 3v3, 2v2 with 7-8 seconds left on the clock. Right now, Maestro Esca are playing behind the 8 ball. They're really slowing things down way too much, and they need a tempo switch. They need to up the pace if they want to cause problems for the Secret Academy side.
Maestro Esca, though, are sticking to their game plan decision. They've wanted to not go for the tremendously aggressive style we saw normally from this team. That's the identity that they bring out time and time again. And with these bans, you'd expect it, right? The Kaid and Bandit ban. What does that mean? Well, that means every wall, every hatch is basically free. So they can open them up. Without any hard breach bans from Team Secret, because they've taken away the Monty and the Grim, means that you're expecting these walls to be open. So this main wall by platform, that will be opened up. If construction wall isn't contested, that should be open up. But the problem for this side is going to be the hold down in lounge with a castle set up from Feno. 6 and 1 across 3. Well, across 2. He's going to be so difficult to clear at this position. I think Maestro Esca might need to make a pivot to their decision making.
Castle's going to be important now for this one. Obviously, with this being top floor, the verticality is not going to be an... Oh my god, he's got another one. Ghost Riddick falling at the first hurdle again. You've lost your flank watch once more. Now, early days, they get the main breach open. But, I mean, you got to do something about Feno. He is just playing a completely different game to Maestro Esca at this point. And, you know, you got to get the sledge. Get some pressure to VIP below. You cannot clear rafters without taking control of that VIP side first.
You just gotta feel Maestro Esca, yet again, they lose their cutoff position. That's gonna be Ghost Riddick, who's been a player that's developed across this Challenger Series so far. He's gone early yet again. The Azami just gets missed by that pinch from Jay. Keeping eyes out of Oil Pit. Difficult to contest from Linko. And Jay will take that one. High ground advantage, but Feno has exact positioning on him and reads it perfectly. 2 in the round. He'll know he's going to get covered. Don't let him find 3. Finally, Den shuts him down. Feno gone. But damage might be done. Main breach opened up at the hands of the 8s. Evan still has 1 exothermic in back pocket. Look at the utility of the defense. 3 toxic canisters. The Banshee's placed by Mardo and Alems in the mirror. They have strong defensible positions, but Lounge has fallen. So a default plant might be on here. But I think they're aware of the flank arriving from construction and master bedroom.
Yeah, you got to keep an eye on that. And let's not forget the C4 in the back pocket of Alems as well. They've got the head holes or the vert holes created that they can toss that C4 over that cabinet and see if they can get the kill onto the default plant. But Ranker is pushing up. But look at this. Evan, the player with the case with a minute to go, is outside the main breach. So maybe he might even go for that plant close to the red wall as Ranker just about escapes with his life weapon. This is another risk that was taken, but this time Maestro Esca haven't been punished.
The nade clears that default camera, or the bulletproof camera, meaning they can walk in without giving away clear information. That means calls are going to get a little bit muddy from this decision making. The pressure deep in rafters will keep them away, but they've fallen away from bottom garage, giving the freedom from Marto to make this rotation down. This is going to be a problem area. They walked in with Den, they're going to use his utility as flashbangs go out to try and find that pressure towards red. Ranker takes a beating, Alems gets his first kill around and an impactful one. Shuts down Ranker, but Evan charges in, gets one of his own. Red Stairs falls, and that's going to be it all down to 1. However, Den gets pressed down by the smoke. Evan can't force this stick and has to try and win his one. An active mirror window. He'll pivot towards that default. And he'll try and make it stick. Audio's gonna sell him from this one. And he's not planning default. Unfortunately, his legs get spotted, but Marto finds the head when he pulls up that case. A third consecutive round yet again from Team Secret Academy. Maestro Eska. Early morning jitters in a big matchup like this. 3-0 down.
Well, they've got to wake up with it. That was another really winnable situation they found themselves in, and it was a rewind replay of the tape once more. Marto getting the better of Evan in a 1 versus 1 at the end of the round. This time, Evan tried to stick the plant, but I'm with you, Whippet. Play for the kill in that situation. There's not enough time, and you know the players on red stairs. So we move to the 4th round. A flawless first half of the defensive half for Team Secret. Back to basement, and the bans, Whippet, they've decided they don't want to deal with that mirror window, and counter to that, Maestro Eska, they won't have that Capitao to help clear positions like AKs whenever they get control of Kitchen.
This third ban spot is very much dedicated to what they're struggling with in the game, and I think a wise choice. These mirror windows, while Lems have been playing, it hasn't gotten the most kills. They've been so impactful, especially in that last round, giving Evan the uncertainty that he can't plant deep in cash because he would have been spotted. Just one extra step that they've been struggling to clear. One big pivot though, Marto going to be on the Scopos this time around, of course. An operator in this season has received a little bit of a change. You can transition between the shells much quicker. Has the same robo punch that Aruni has, meaning that you can maybe be aggressive through those barricade runouts. Think out towards maybe Strip Club where we see Fenno going right now. And a very explosive roam potential, as Marto will be on that, of course, made quicker in this update as well. So Marto might be a little bit of demon as he set everything up for this upstairs hold as predicted. Mute jammers will deny information. Won't stop them from getting the walls. I'll hunt down that drone gain. And a rotation all the way to Strip Club. Fino, I have a feeling he's feeling it. 8-2 across 4 rounds. I think he's going to try his very best to get aggressive and cause some early heartache. From maybe Ghost Riddick again.
Yeah. Right, top tip, don't run into the bullets. That's not the best thing, but Fenno will fall. But Whippet, what I do like about this difference is in the first round, Team Secret Academy set up with something similar with the mute, but didn't roam. They basically baited Team Secret Academy into thinking there was a roam. This time, they're actually playing off the back of it, and it's giving Maestro Eska that something to clear. And you will need to worry about a much stronger stock hold this time. Last time that was kept solid, they kept it closed, but Marto, he's getting ready. He's got a bad idea in his head. He's going to open up that wall and try catch them whenever they're outside that kitchen window.
The voice in his head seemingly speaking louder and louder. He's going to get aggressive with it, but however, Jay shuts down a Lems, finds that mute upstairs. And the aspects of this extension begin to fall away, actually. Finds it all the way inside of blue. Tables begin to track the Fenrir. That's going to force his drop off, but Marto finds his opening of this round. They now know a Scopo's upstairs. He'll drop into bar. Will make an audible drop. Pressure from the stage door will spot him out. Find some damage. A trade needs to be there, and Ghost Riddick finds it. We lose Jay. We lose the Deimos. We lose the nades he brings. Will we gain advantage for Maestro Eska? 1 minute 25. 3v2 advantage. Denstar walking down dirt tunnel. Flamed off for 20. Still lots of time to work with for our offensive team.
Being able to vault up on top of boxes with no pressure coming from that kitchen hatch either. Now we will see Evan finally take that spot, but as of this point in time, Den is essentially in pause mode. Another one of those Goyo canisters will be popped as he gets closer and closer to that dirt door, and that's what Asa's job is right now. Going to toss the stun, goes for the kill, but there you go. Pop the Goyo. 20 more seconds. But do they know about Linku? Yes, they do. They get the kill, and it's all down to Asa now in a 1v3.
Much better round so far from Maestro Eska, but it's not over yet. Asa, super good at his job here. He knows he's got one player to deal with, that Blackbeard. And that might just be mission priority number 1. Den has to play this perfectly to invite his team pressure. There's the first drop. Evan's gonna fall from it. Huge damage done to Den. Ghost Riddick might be the man to save this round. Quiet game from him so far. Den pops up and loses it. Ghost Riddick saves the day. Asa, so close to a heroic clutch in the basement. But Maestro Eska will take full advantage of it. The DMR to the wall finally finds its mark. And it'll be the opening round for our offensive team. Maestro Eska off the board, but they made that way more difficult for themselves than he had to.
Whippet, we've played 4 rounds and 3 of them have come down to 1v1s at the very end. That is how tightly, despite the scoreline showing Team Secret Academy having the advantage, every round bar the second one has gone right down to the wire. And on those small margins are careers and futures built. Team Secret Academy holding their own so far on the defense, changing sights off the back of that loss, but without the Mira, it's going to change up the way you play this a little bit, Whippet. Obviously, we're seeing the Aruni being brought in this time around. Those gates are going to slow them down. You can't play inside of logistics and just feed information to the player inside a bathroom, to the player inside a bedroom anymore, because the Mira window is gone. So it will maybe force even more extension aggression from the side of Team Secret Academy. And with the Azami, you've got the perfect operator to do so.
Very similar defense approach, again, minus that Mira, as you mentioned. There's multifaceted approach to this one. Again, you want to invite that pressure into CCTV and cash, then have them fall back into your cutoffs and crossfires in construction. The Goyos help stir that up as well, burn away more time. And double hard bridge available from Maestroesca means these walls will be free. You'll be able to open up this construction wall, the CCTV wall, so with ease. And the big job of this XCon wall is just going to be acting as that cutoff. It makes you a little bit more uncomfortable if you're walking inside a construction. Means just 2 potential cutoff angles, like Ranker in Narnia on the red hatch or red shack all the way in spawn. Misses his shots, takes some damage in return. I'm not keen to repeat it. Evan will use that second exothermic to open up the wall into CCTV. Will likely begin to drone this out, and then his job, open up the wall by Jacuzzi. Maybe even wait for Evan to make that rotate. They'll concede CCTV, they'll fall back to cash, and set things up on red stairs. A guy would help secure this up as well. Huge time sink if the offense push into this directly.
Yeah, and the player on top, I think when you've got the ability to still play on top of red with that rotate, it makes even more of a problem for Maestroesca. But I think at this point, you begin to fall back. Another opportunity missed as Jay could have got the kill on the Linku, but wasn't able to find them. And there's the run out all the way over and strip from Feno, and that screams that player has a long way to rotate back. But Whippet, no one's holding it. Looks like Feno is going to get all the way back to site without any worries about being caught on the cross.
The Aruni gate on the hatch means those drones gonna have a harder time gathering information. You have to commit utility to get information. Looks like, well, I would say every drone's getting shot at. Unfortunately, looks like just Mute has evaded the server. We'll hop on board Infino as he spots the player on the rappel. Does lose his one. Jay shots him down. Nicely done. Good opening pick. Comes late in the round though. Twitch drone begins to work away clearing utility. Gets one of the Vulcan canisters, not a second one. And now they've entered inside a cache. They've got the wall open on construction single. They don't know about Logi. They don't know what control they have, but Jay will find himself a second. They have to pop that map ingredient now, to not delay that time later, and they spotted the player by the chassis. These Aruni gates soak up the nades, and combining that with the OMI means these positions are so much more defendable. The TCSG walks deep, and the Lems will find one. Ghost Riddick falls, but there's a trade from Ranker. The DMR shreds him. Linko in the bathroom, but Asa has made a deep rotation into construction. Evan in a must-win fight with a case in hand. Has his teammates to help him? No, but he does it all himself. And Linko tries to jump out, but Jay shuts him down. Huge round from the German. And Maestroesca, with a slower paced approach here on Clubhouse, beginning to find their footing. Only 1 round down now.
Yeah, it looks completely different than it did just 6 minutes ago for Maestroesca, but again, these rounds are so much closer than you'd expect, and Maestroesca could be about to take a 3-3 half if the next round goes their way. But Whippet, you and I, you know, we said to each other after the first 2 rounds that Maestroesca were sleeping. They gotta wake up, and they finally seem to have shown signs of life. But the big thing for me is Team Secret Academy have started to throw away lives of players a little bit more carelessly than they had in the opening 3 rounds. Like, you look at Feno, 8-1 to start things off after 3 rounds. Not a single kill in the next 2. He's fallen far too early. It's been the same for Marteau. Falling early, giving advantage to the side of Maestroesca. So it will force another site swap. And what does that mean for Maestroesca? Same as what we thought before. You've got Evan, you've got yourself 3 sets of hard breach, open the main breach, open bottom garage, open the construction side. They have forfeited the ability to bring the ace this time with it, and elected to bring Den on 0. So you're bringing those 6 SAM cams, which can give you tons of information. The thing is now, use it. I want to see Maestro Esca take full advantage of the 6 cameras that you bring into play.
Tell you what though, the perfect counterplay to that many cameras is going to be the Solus. Mordo has a great chance to be very effective. I do like this pickup, and the big thing for me is that they've struggled with players creeping out of positions and finding freebies. Ghost Riddick has been, I feel like, almost a victim of this time and time again, and he's just getting caught by players in positions he wasn't ready for. So instead of making a drastic pivot to gameplay style, they'll just bring out Den. He's got Claymores to help deny these runouts. He's got these extra cameras to shore up control inside a master bedroom, inside a construction. That's why he put them on those barricades. But do they know about the Solace? Mordo can sit and play late in lounge to deny that plant going down if they go for a default plant, actually anywhere on this side. Rafters control, held by Linko as you'd expect from the Azami. Well, great information gathered from the SAM cams. And this will be Den's job likely. Direct the flow of traffic from this rappel. And the Gone 6 is nearly perfect. Oh no, Pigs in a flashbang. Fido takes a freebie off Jay. Disaster. He dies with lots of those drones back in pocket. He might get to control of Lounge, Trevor, but a big blow in terms of player count.
Oh, you cannot lose that, and you can't let Feno have free reign of the breach as well. He gets another kill on the round as he is just living off and rolling back the tape from the previous opening rounds. Ranker dropping below alongside Evan. There's still a player deep inside of blue as well. The shotgun in the hands of Marteau. The nade, you gotta run further away than that, man. He's gonna fall 4v2 suddenly. You've got a sliver of optimism for the side of Maestro Esca, but yes, breach is open, but with vault cams, with rafters being held, with a player inside red, you cannot walk in unless you take down one of the key players. Either red or rafters has to fall if you want to get any sort of positivity in this round.
One silver lining from the side of Maestro Esca you got to think about here is the fact that they have access to a lot of time. Those cameras from Den, of course, they haven't been shot, still active, so they can begin to scout things out and work out where that play is. They've seen Linko, they know it's still contested, and this is going to begin to play in the mind of how they can troubleshoot this. An aggressive push-up from Feno here. He's going to find one, finds Evan on that rappel, 3 in the round, and that is essentially the death tome of it, 30 seconds. I think at this point, more of a reset for the team. Evan, get on the comm to begin to figure out how you can solve this problem going into our second half. An impromptu timeout. Smoke canisters block him out. Linko finds a freebie, and wow, Secret Academy take round number 6 on a 4-2 split on their defense. And while the scoreline doesn't look as scary as it might feel, these have been dominant victory rounds. Every time Team Secret have won a round, bar for the opening, it has felt dominant from them. Maestro Esca are on the back foot here. They're up against the ropes already, but we're going into our second half, so it's time to sit, reset, recalculate, and rebuild what you want to do here on the defense. So Gibson, what would be your main approach from this one if you're looking at either of these teams?
I think that Maestro Esca got to start hitting the shots because they're putting themselves, I think they're putting themselves in good positions. Like, you look at that last round and you talk about fine margins. They popped the castle barricade over by Secret and swung the door to red stairs, and Jay missed his shots. They had Feno dead to rights. You missed the shots. He goes on to get a 3k in the round and completely dismantles everything that Maestro Esca wanted to do. That one kill goes the other way, and suddenly you're looking at a completely different round. So I think Maestro Esca, just get warmed up, start hitting the shots that you need to. And now that we change, we're seeing completely different thought processes for how the site's going to play. So no Mira being played by Maestro on the site, but instead Whippet, they're electing to bring the castle. They're bringing Evan on the clash, and those are going to pose some very different problems for Team Secret Academy than what Secret Academy were posing for Maestro Esca on the same site earlier.
Again, I praised how this team were playing Fortress yesterday, where they had really good kind of commitment to time denial and choking out this progressive entry from Gigi Oletti. Unfortunately, it didn't work out in the series, but they were very dominant on particular maps when it was applicable to them. I think that might be an approach here. With Jay on the mute and the Den on the castle, telegraphs to me that they're going to commit themselves to some level of an extension upstairs. With this entire middle section of the wall opened up, you might be wondering, what's this all about? Well, it's because the Clash can now walk freely through it and contest that pressure from main stairs and do it with relative safety. That's going to be a big play. And I think from everyone from Maestro Esca, the approach here is to delay time on the roam, soak up as much utility on that roam, and force them into a push where they want to drop either out kitchen or put pressure on the main stairs where the Clash can be most effective. That's the game plan right now. Did Team Secret read it? Did they figure things out, how they can approach it? Or did they go for a different approach? One more note, they hid Evan during the prep phase. They tucked him in that deep corner on site and tried to keep that Clash as secret as possible.
Yeah, you talk about a sphere of influence. Well, Clash has really got a pyramid of influence on this round. That corridor between Dirt Tunnel, Blue, and Main Stairs is where Clash is going to have a huge impact on this round. Now, information is gathered on Jay, who has got the setup inside of Bar. C4's tossed at the ready, but not going to catch the sledge. That could have been really big as far as early picks are considered. But good tempo from Secret Academy, but they've completely cleared the top floor within a minute. And they're working now on creating some vert. But Jay has got the decision to make. Does he fall, drop that hatch whenever the pressure gets too hot? Or does he stay in place? It looks like he already has now dropped away. And I think that's very clever from the German.
Yeah, they dropped down to that minute 45 mark. And while a little bit early, you would have wanted to stick it a little bit longer. Can't really complain with it. They soaked up some utility, but not a lot. All utility like flashbang, smokes, and drones, and the nades, I should say, are still standing. Of course, little tip for you guys watching at home, do not trust the drone screen. That's not accurate. There's more than 2 drones active, I promise you that. Zami just escapes that vertical. We saw that silhouette creeping around. Information's good. Pre-fire isn't. Pino just misses those shots, but you gotta find, you gotta worry about these players deep in armory. That's gonna be Jay, finding it very uncomfortable soon. Marked by that Deimos yet again, he has to make a great escape. Coverage is gonna be good here. They can stop that drop down. With Evan playing as an Emoto, he's going to be very vulnerable if he pushes deep, but do they know he's in this back corner? The drone might miss him. I don't know if they know Gibson. This could be huge if Evan's left unchecked.
Yeah, and the time delay and the fact that he has a direct impact to that blitz as well really could help the side of Maestro Esca. But there's a rotate. Blitz now preparing for that march down inside of Dirt. So AKs suddenly becomes one of the most powerful positions for the side of Maestro Esca. You've got the Azami in position. Nade will clear the barricades and force the player away. But with that door still barricaded, it'll slow things up. But Feno, he gets a huge double and they can just walk in now. Den finds one and a second, but he's traded back by Linku, and Asa will go for that plant. Complete silence in his section of the map as he is doing this one for free. Clash running away. Will find one is Evan in a 1 versus 1 with the blitz. The blitz though is holding his own. It's all down to Evan. He falls and Secret Academy win another round.
That last fight was scrappy. Evan was doing his very best to try and hold the line for his team. Unfortunately, couldn't get it done. In a very chaotic round. I saw the vision from Maestro Esca. I really did see it, but Team Secret Academy were so well rehearsed about how to take that control. And that felt like they realized very quickly that there wasn't a significant commitment to the roam. They realized that they're actually not playing it. They're not playing it as aggressive. They're going to drop down early. And they played into that. They taught walk in, get to control. Great Deimos tracks early to begin to kind of act as that conductor to figure out what things were. There was no significant fights from that roam game, and they went into their execute with all utility. All flashbangs, all smokes, which are a big factor in that final play. You gotta feel just a little bit of Maestro Esca. I think they've been prepped out here. I think Team Secret Academy have figured them out. I think they've shown their hand. And this is a problem. Because we talked about it in our pre-show. We talked about it before we went live, and it's kind of the hallmark of this side. We don't know how deep the strat book is with Maestro Esca. We saw it exploited in their upper bracket matchup against GGLetti yesterday. And Team Secret likely have learned their lessons from it. And Jay, I like this pivot to the Jaeger. There's been so much thrown utility. Look how much is brought out this time. 4 nades, 4 flashbangs. Those ADSs can help soak that up and ease some pressure in the late game.
And the deeper the pit that Maestro Esca find themselves in, the more pressure there is and the more of a conscious effort to climb yourself out of it. And that leads to players taking risks that they might not usually take. Like that last round, we saw the Azami. You've lost the AK's Azami cover. And instead of just playing behind the rack, they tried to tuck in the corner to catch the blitz coming through the door, completely forfeiting any opportunity for getting a kill on anyone dropping the hatch, because it was a freebie for the sledge for Feno at that point in the round. And I just love how freely Team Secret are playing on their attacks. There's no fear. They're opening up breaches. Now you have the Mira and the ability to hold Jacuzzi. But the problem that you have is once Jacuzzi walls open and you have a Mira and bathroom, it becomes all too simple with it to just sit and hold and hope someone will walk in. And you know what? I love this Sen setup with those projectors. Toss them out so even if somebody is inside of that CCTV window, they cannot really get any impact on anybody playing on site windows.
I love this. This is going to be a very intricate execution when it does arrive. First set of logic bombs did ring out in the midst of that as well. This is what I mentioned again. Look how much thrown utility they have to work with. They can just throw flashbangs. They can even burn those ADSs. Barbed wire on the main stairs, as expected. The nade should clear it. Mardo's going to send that out. I believe it goes off. There it is. And I think this might give Feno a massive moment to make a play. With one more logic bomb in his back pocket, he's the backstab. He's the pressure relief moment. When the rest of his team hits the site, he's going to emerge. And he's going to be fairly unknown. If he just keeps himself nice and quiet. Mardo finds himself in an aggressive fight there. Jay got aggressive, takes more damage from it. The bane of DMRs, you know, Sens walls, go up for the first time in this round. And here they go, I believe, Gibson.
Yeah, it's brilliant, right? You've given yourself something now, a bit of security. The Azami somehow have Ghost Riddick staying alive. Repositions, manages to find a kill after seeing their teammate fall. As Evan, who is having a decent series at 6-6, will step up to take down the phenomenal Feno. 14-6 for him now, as he will end up dropping. But Whip it, they cannot vault on in. They're going to try to, and somehow Marteau and Alems get it too. You should not get away with that. Another one for Marteau, and it's all down to Ranker. The Mira tucked behind the window, tosses the C4 out, and will get one. You missed the chance of getting the kill onto the player in Jim by just a second. Asa is going to go for the plant. Can you wrap around? Forget about the player on the cover. Go for the kill, man. Asa gets the plant down, and suddenly you can't win. Suddenly, it's looking like its spells are over. Whip it. The French looking so good right now.
Mardo is the man of this round. As Milos described him, the hammer for his team. Vaults in with the secondary pistol in hand. The Reaper, well, it was the Grim Reaper for that round. Vaults in, finds one towards his army in Gym. Gets a re-pick trade attempt from Bathroom. And leaving it all down to one player in the mirror. Massive play. And for a round that looked to maybe open up for the defensive side of Maestro Eska, Evan found a huge pick to Fino, shuts him down. That was the backstab of the Dokkaebi. They got huge picks towards that window, but all began to fall apart. As normally, you'd expect maybe teams to ease off that pressure, but Team Secret Academy, they lose some players, but they committed fully to that take. Didn't slow down, didn't stop, didn't hesitate. I think you mentioned it perfectly at the beginning of this round. They're playing with confidence. They trust themselves to win their ones. They trust their teammates to win their ones, to trade them if they need to find it. And so far, they've had players that they can trust to do extraordinary plays. Like Fino in the opening half of this game, like Mardo just previously. So right now, Team Secret Academy, they're floating. They're having a great performance. And now the question is, can they close this one out? Match point, map point, and they move one map closer if they win to going to EML.
I think the one thing that's really stood out to me is on the rounds where Team Secret have looked really good. You can see that Alem's BDS DNA all over it, right? If you think back to the old BDS, you know, I'm gonna say it, the successful version of the roster, as you pointed out, it was, yes, there was a degree of flash with Shaiko, but it was all about getting the job done. Solving problems, simple siege done right, I suppose, is the phrase you and I have used time and time again. And Alems is bringing that to the Secret Academy team. It's like, okay, what are Maestro Eska doing? Okay, let's solve that problem, right? They've got tons of utility. What can we do to counter that? How do we stop their utility from working? How do we put pressure on site windows without worrying about being flanked? Well, we'll just use the Sens. It is basically that old school BDS DNA being installed in these players, and that's the impact that Alems can bring to a team like this.
You put it perfectly though. They're solving problems, and that's just going to be a difficult aspect to it. I know I talk about it so many times, but problems in a game like Siege, they have solutions. This like Castle Barricade, for example, it's a problem, but I can clear it quite easily with these drones, right? A dilemma has multiple outcomes, all equally as bad. And Maestro Eska haven't placed them in those positions. One example of how Maestro Eska can do that, watch Fortress from yesterday. They were so good at that. This time, they've been more red, they've been broken down, and clearly from prep work from Team Secret Academy. And a part of that, to me, comes down to this map. Very procedural map, this Clubhouse. And they're following step by step, and I think Team Secret Academy are just better drilled, it feels. A team with more longevity as a roster. Again, this core has been together for a very, very long time, competing inside of multiple different Tier 2 events. I'll hop on board here with the Maverick and Mardo. Spots that drone. Ranker just escapes up red stairs. The double denial ban yet again means gonna be so free. These walls get opened up.
Yeah, good play though, holding red. Like, if you hold red, you can stop that breach from being opened, and it means that the Monty now is essentially on an island. There's no cover coming from that main breach side, as the silhouette now will push to the bottom of rafters. Now, information will be fully had on the Azami. You can see Alems is doing his best to help him out, but those ADSs really locking and securing down this position. Ranker gets a huge kill. That was the player who was going to help take the spot. Another opportunity, but this one missed as Marteau is going to explode inside of Garage. But down inside Pit, there's a silhouette. That is one of the defenders. That is going to be a problem potentially, as Jay is going to wait for that support to push on up. There's the peek from Monty. Ghost Riddick will find one. Marteau finds one of his own, and the opportunity missed by Jay once some more. And Whippet, he cannot really climb those stairs safely until he knows there's nobody at the door.
Jay likely has to make a rotation up red stairs via blue here. Veto walks in, gets down, and that's going to be a problem now as the front line begins to fall away. There is a plant on the table here. Shots missed here by Eben. The unit might flood in the cash here. Ranker gets one more. Nitro goes deep, hits the door, doesn't find any mark, and the pressure from red stairs. Fino needs to win his one. Shut down 3 in the round for Ranker. Massive trade from Mardo, but he's left alone. Find himself in a 1v3. Quickly makes a 1v2. He'll make a retreat up towards rafters. He'll walk down the long way. Has case in hand. Plant option open for him. He has to vault in the window. Audible sound will be made. 2 players to find. They have to play it together. Ranker does it all by himself, finding 2 in the round. Shuts down Mardo and saves a round and the lifeline for this side. Maestro Eska fighting for every single moment. And they get 1 back. Only 3 more to go to force overtime.
Yeah, and that timeout looks to have had an impact on how Maestro Eska played. They got the round win and just playing basic positions, right? You hold control of red, you've got the mirror window. Well, there's nothing that the team on the breach can really do to help that Monty push on up. So they did the right things that they had to do to help positions and hold them and give their players a chance to win. But they've got to do it 3 more times. But this is what we were talking about. That is just 1 step in a case of multiple that they need to be just to get into that really good position of parity.
It's not going to be easy to get there. It's going to be so hard. Basement defense. Small pivot. They're going to bring a few extra traps to work with. Going to be Den on the Fender. Not necessarily the most default of those traps, but he can have that extra information extended out. Evan on the Denari. Always curious to see how teams will make this Denari work and what approaches they bring from it. Jay has those Banshees. Great denial for walk up. Good information for especially for positions like blue. Maybe oil, a bit of a backstab tries to arrive. Definitely slows down that pressure arriving in Dirt Tunnel. And Ranker might be tasked with holding on to it. His army position in that hold. Those keeper barricades can make it very difficult to flush them out. Gives him safety to make that exit. And a few openings on that double wall. He won't peek them, but he'll just maybe sow the doubt in the mind of Team Secret Academy.
Round number 10 is underway. This one for Secret Academy could be the round that secures the opening map in best of 3 and puts them 1 step closer to EML now. For the side of Maestro Eska, just do what you did in the previous round. Do simple things and whip it. It's a change in lineup. Denari being brought out, Malusi being brought out. A lot more movement control operators being brought this time around. And when you've got potential of teams rushing down the main stairs, why not do a little bit of chip damage with that Denari?
One thing I'll notice quickly about it here, Gibson, is the lack of a shield getting brought out from Team Secret Academy. In the current climate we're in, you typically see teams commit to 1 player almost dedicated to a shield every round, opting to go traditional for these 5 rounds, or these 5 players. Quick entry into Cord's construction from Fino. He has an option to do some vert in the stock, and this is actually great from him. He's just going to check the default positions you'd expect a roam presence to be. So he'll open that floor, he'll move on, and this is a very key part to the very time-efficient clears from Team Secret Academy. I'd love to know where these drones are, because they seem to be moving with such confidence at these early stages. Ghost Riddick, the smoke on main, has such an important role. Fenrir, the first to be hunted down by that Deimos. That's going to be Den, playing by in blue, in Generator. Actually, no, in Dirt Tunnel. His job is to hold this with his life. And he can give the information exactly where that Deimos is. Track called off early, realizing he can't act on that information. Minute 25. Fostering up so far from Team Secret Academy. All 10 players still standing.
And that causes a problem for the side of Team Secret Academy. You got to make a decision. Do you invest resources in clearing dirt and AKs, or when you know that Den is there, do you go for that Church Arsenal Moto drop tech? Because Den will probably play there for as long as he possibly can. So you're giving yourself a chance. Here's a chance to get a kill on the board, but Jay will manage to stay on his feet. Impact Trick is semi-successful, but that hatch is inevitable. It will be opened.
Impact trick will do enough just to soak up more time, more utility. First nade burned from that sledge and some free damage done by that Denari. Lems will clear it. He'll be slowed down for now. And he's going to take this time to hop on his drone and begin to figure out if there's more to deal with. An unactive Fenrir. He reads that one. He can clear that from above as well. With Den alive, he could have pivoted it, but they won't exist for much longer. First of 3 smokes sent out. They begin to choke this play out. Pressure arriving. Den needs to hold his life here. But 2 bodies lurking by blue means they're going to drop in sequence with this hatch drop. Evan finds 1. That's a huge pick, and Evan sees the opportunity to go ascending up the main stairs. This is go button now for Team Secret Academy. They have to charge in the side. Mardo, Fenno going huge, finding 2 with 10 seconds. Evan on the roam. Massive pick for Mardo again, and this is going to be a problem. Where does this case go down? I think deep inside a church. Asa should be able to stick this one. Dancing around blue doorway. Den will get one of his own, but stops that case going down. No, he can't. Denny going huge with a pistol, finding 2. Asa, Linko wounded. 1 Demo's track to work with 2. 30 seconds, and the AK shreds 1 to J. Den, the hero of so many people's dreams. Can he find 1? No, he can't. Asa shuts him down. And the opening map of this series goes to Team Secret Academy.
Big round, that one for Secret. They take the map, and that gives them a huge advantage in the best of 3 series. But how good was Fenno? Every single time they needed someone to step up, it was him. Whip it that round. I talked about the fact that they had to change things up. With Den holding dirt, it would mean a main stairs pushing. That's what they did. They pushed in the main, got the plant down in church, and then once the plant goes down, it was always going to be a win for Team Secret Academy.
Team Secret Academy, I think, I mentioned to you, Gibby, I think this first map was a test of preparation and the coaching staff to get them to the right map. They go to Clubhouse, a procedural map, they figure out exactly what Maestro Esco like to do, want to do, they read it like a book. They get that victory, and a very dominant one, but that is not the end of the story. There are maybe 2 more chapters to go. Bank is up next, don't worry, we'll be going there soon, but after this quick little break.
Welcome back, friends, to Challenger Series. And what a first map we just had, where our Frenchmen are doing the damage. We're looking at Marteau, we're looking at Alems, like, oh, everybody can really play in their own way, but those two are really up there. But we forgot a phenomenon in one way or another, Feno, who has just packed up everything, really, in his own back pocket.
I feel like I'm watching the Six Nations when France absolutely destroyed Ireland. It's a brutal one from us here. I mean, but this is Team Secret Academy on a map that suits them down to the core. It's by the book, go through this step, this step, this step, and they have done their research. I mentioned it at the pre-show a little bit that this is going to be a test of your support staff, and what a job they've done. They have figured out exactly what Maestro Eska want to do. They've been helped by Feno's amazing performance, going so deep, like 15 plus kills in a huge performance from him. Helps as well that Mardo had massive individual moments. Team Secret must be feeling fantastic about this and puts all the pressure on Maestro Eska. What can they figure out in what is a very short turnaround between a map and also a map they lost yesterday and showed their hand on?
Yeah, I think this is the biggest opportunity. I spoke about how Evan needed to expel his demons from yesterday, and well, we're going to the map where those demons were the loudest in his ear. I think he had 1 kill on bank yesterday, Milosh, and I feel like this is the map where all of their flaws were exposed. Their one-dimensional attacks, the fact that if not all 5 players are singing from the same hymn sheet, things are going to go wrong. And for the likes of Evan, who didn't play well here yesterday, I'm going to remind him of a saying that Whippet uses on broadcast all the time. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege is a first-person shooter. Shooter is the first thing in the game. So you can tactic all day long, but if you're not hitting your shots, you're not going to win.
Sorry, exactly. I need like a minute here to recalibrate and just understand what was just said to me. It blew my mind. Yes, at the end of the day, this is a shooter, and you have to make that work and happen. And at some point, if you're able to marry both tactics and communication and shooting, then that's it. You got the perfect team, aka basically any team that has JV, Handy, and Felipox on it in one way or another. We were just having the discussion before we started with this. But much like those players, you have to start somewhere. Now, they started playing on console and getting picked up slowly in Tier 2 Brazil, and look at where they are today. This is the same thing here. Alem's a major winner. We got 2 players on here on his team that we're looking at and thinking, my God, these 2 can actually like do some damage if they were to make it in professional play, but they need to make it happen on this next map. Unless Maestro Eska has something to say about it. Let's see if they can combobulate themselves back into a functional squad and wake up. You got a game to win, Samurai. Let's go. Maestro Eska versus Team Secret Academy going to bank. Will they cash it in or not? Whip it, Gibby. Take it away.
It is time for what could be our final matchup in Challenger Series for the year, and it is time to see, can Maestro Eska exercise the demons of a match lost yesterday, or can they bounce back from it, and will the procedural, ruthlessly efficient Frenchmen get it done and reclaim the top for LMs back in EML? But a debut for some of these players, Gibson. Actually, we talked about it, Asa, a player that was very close to having a dominant run in Tier 1 not too long ago.
Yeah, we were excited for what he would bring to the table way back when we spoke to Leland, and you know, it doesn't always work. Like, we've seen players have an opportunity and have it not go as planned. They go back to Tier 2, they hone their skills in, and they come back with a bang. And you know, you were talking about players. Noah is a fantastic example of a player who had that sort of a run. Like, you can go back to Tier 2, take the right attitude, and it will make you a better player.
Speak about Noah, actually, and we talked about this earlier tomorrow, getting our prep ready. A little bit of a sidecar as we get ready for this first match. We're going to be a basement defense, and it's going to follow the... I'll get back to Noah point just as we talk about this setup. This is going to be the same setup we saw yesterday coming out. Very reliant on the time denial in the late round, coming out from Jay and Ranker. Those Goyo canisters combined with that Tachanka. We've seen the flame inconsistencies bite them yesterday against Gigi Oletti, so keep an eye for that one, and a sends execute going to happen. So pressure on these hatches is going to be very, very important. Team Secret Academy. Back to Or I mentioned about this, it's actually a storyline for a lot of these players, and I even mentioned it to one of the players particularly in this matchup. Noah had one of the worst seasons of professional play on TT9. A very difficult performance. Now, he's an S-tier event winner in EWC and the SI Grand finalist, where he put on an amazing performance. Ghost Riddick from Matchco in EML didn't have the greatest performance, and now he's been one of the standout players for this team. As some people have said, he's found his hands. He's been throwing them aggressively in Challenger Series, so never give up for these teams.
A big pick though while that was going on. Den is going to fall, so you've lost your Kaid. Feno is going to get a double on the round. He has just started today in the exact fashion that you would have wanted. He's in a 1 versus 1 now. He hits the deck. He does a ton of damage to Evan. Evan, you gotta stand up. You gotta do something. Ranker is going to come in with a huge flank, but it looks like it's round 1. You spoke about Ghost Riddick. It means nothing. Team Secret Academy, they blitz that round with it, and I wondered if we were going to start where we left off, and it looks like that's the case. Great round from Secret Academy.
Oh my goodness, Gibson, I wanted to make a point about the time denial getting brought out in combination with the Goyo and the Tachanka. And well, time denial is all well and good, but if you go fast to just kill them, and you put it perfectly, this is a shooter at the end of the day, you can just outshoot them, it feels. And Team Secret Academy took that full approach from it. They get a very rapid opening round here on Bank, and every round that goes that way is going to be very, very scary for Maestro Eska. They're going to have flashbacks, they're going to have memories, they're going to think about everything that went wrong yesterday. These are where your mental game comes into it. Can these young players settle themselves into this? And the most important job for that is getting a round or two here. They need to find their foundation. They cannot let Team Secret Academy begin to run away.
I want to see players like Evan just find consistency, right? Yes, we speak about it a lot. Yes, there's a bit of Irish pride there. It's great to see Irish representation inside the Tier 1 ecosystem. But he is a player. You know the way we talk about floor ceiling disparity, right? Like, the best teams in the world have a really high ceiling, but more importantly, they've got a really high floor. I think for young players like Evan, that inconsistency is something you grow out of, but he needs to grow out of it here and now to get his team back in. Remember, he's the shot caller, he is the leader of this team. I want to see him step up, but for Team Secret Academy, what is the doctor ordering? The same as what you've been doing every single round in this series so far.
The worry for me is the fact that we see Fino starting so aggressive yet again. Very comfortable on that Dokkaebi. Has so much key utility, does 2 logic bombs throughout the round, massively effective. SMG-12 as well. Say what you want about it in ranked games. You may as well use it while you still have it in the way it is, and Fino has been doing that effectively. And the problem is, can Team Secret find a way to slow this pace down? Well, actually not Team Secret. Can Maestro Eska slow this pace down? Well, it actually looks like Team Secret Academy are going for a much, much slower style of play. Going back to their systematic, checklist style. Working through the problems that Team Secret are working through the problems that Maestro Eska are providing. How can they clear these castle barricades? How can they clear these windows? How can they put pressure? How can they move players? They have all the resources to do it.
It's copy-paste though, but if you look at this game yesterday, or this map yesterday from Maestro Eska, it's almost the same players in the exact same positions. Like Ranker is inside of Presidential, and when you know and you have a great idea of where players are going to be without even having to drone, it gives you opportunities to get kills like that. The DMR is going to pick up big kills, and it ties back to the point you made. The prep work from Team Secret Academy looks like it has been perfect, and they're going at it with it. They're going straight in with the execute. Asa is going to go there. He's going to get the case down, and there's nobody in the same postcode. Case down, out the window. Another round's going to get one for Secret Academy.
Secret Academy knew they can just walk in. They find that pressure, and the case goes down, and this is a problem again. You put it perfectly. They've been playing the same positions they did against Gigioletti, and Team Secret Academy have just figured them out. C4 will get one shot by the AK. Den will get himself one. Traded by Alems, who finds 2. Well, Ranker finds 1. It's only a kill for his pride and ego because it's going to be all but over. 20 seconds less until we go critical. The fight is 1 towards Spiral. Gets shut down by Fino. The SMG-12 shreds him. And another very, very quick, very, very clinical, very, very dominant execution from the side of Team Secret Academy. And I want to give a massive shout out, of course. The coach Draz on this team from Team Secret Academy. We praise coaches all the time. And I think this right now needs a name drop because you have prepped your team perfectly from this display on Bank. Now, this is the question. 2 rounds played. Can we see adaptions getting made from Maestro Eska to get this down? Look at this plant going down, Gibby. No one's close to contesting it.
Yeah, they got the kill. Like, don't get me wrong, right? You can make assumptions in a game, and it's fine, right? When you're playing a map like Bank, you can make assumption as an attacker. There's probably going to be somebody outside stock. There's going to be somebody inside elevator. There'll be somebody floating around janitor. And then usually there's 2 wildcards. But with Maestro Esca, those wildcards are playing the same positions that they did yesterday, which means that you can drone more effectively. Like, I know someone's here. I'm just going to check quickly. Boom, they're there. We'll find a kill. We'll work that way.
You talk about wildcards, Gibson. That's going to be Fino here picking up the Nook. Now, he can pick away. I'm always scared to highlight it early, but it's perfectly timed. This is going to be the wildcard. He's been so good on it. Dokubi's going to get pivoted around to Linko. So now they're going to get the benefit of the fact that they can have a Nook lurk around somewhere. And I have a suspicion, as we see Jay trying to get aggressive for spawn, he could double attempt it here. Dan's going to go one as well from top square. Neither of those catch anything. With Feno on this pickup, he can lurk towards lobby without anyone seeing him. So while the primary vocal point of this pressure might arrive from top floor, tellers inside of bottom square, he can sit somewhere else. And well, Alem's gonna throw that boogie drone in, takes a lot of damage. Den almost cursing he couldn't find that pick. Alem's almost repeaks and finds him. Den very lucky to keep his head up on his shoulders, makes an escape down marble stairs.
Suppose at this point you're going both players missing big opportunities, but Feno just walks on in anyway, lurking, gets his opening kill, and there's nobody there to play the trade. Now Den will go hunting, but the Nook is already wrapped around the other side, and he's going to get another one. Feno will find Evan. It's a double on the round for the phenomenal one. Stun grenade thrown now, tossed in, as you know that Den's now too far away. Alems will find Ghost Riddick. It is just shooting fish in a barrel. They're outworked, outthought, outplayed. It's all down to Ranker. He's got one singular health point to work with. He's trapped in a corner. He's dealt with. Team Secret Academy sprinting to EML now.
You mentioned it at the very beginning of the day. At this stage, it's no longer a marathon. It feels like a sprint, and well, they've took that personally. It feels like we've only just begun, and we're halfway through our opening half. Oh, it's a 3-0 domination on Bank. Team Secret Academy have played this perfect. They know exactly what they're dealing with. They know exactly how to break it down. And I mentioned it going into our prep phase. The Feno on that Nook will lurk around lobby. He played it perfectly. He gets the pick towards tellers, dances undetected towards elevators, finds the Kaid making that rotation back to site. What a moment. You mentioned it perfectly, Gibson. He is the phenomenal one right now.
Put your hands up. But anyways, Whippet, I'm looking at one thing you did bring up as well. You know, you showed some love to the coach. Good coaching elevates teams all around them, right? You know, you've seen the impact that Kenny had in the tier 2 ecosystem. It got him huge opportunities in North America. But if you want to talk about good coaching as well, look no further than the other team that qualified yesterday. Hybrid is their coach. He is one of the best coaches out there. You know, he was, Hybrid of CAG fame, as you used to like to call him from back in the day. But everyone knows, right? Yes, players win games, but you cannot underestimate the impact that really good coaching and really good prep work does. Like, even look at what happened with Fabian when he went over to Korea. He went to Korea and made a huge impact on that region.
He took a team that was kind of a mid-table side, rose them towards qualifying to international events, and made significant progress there. And really does highlight your point. The coach can set the tempo, set the pace, set the mood, the culture of a team. And we sing praises across teams and coaches all around the world. And 2 coaches battling for a chance to maybe stand on the biggest stages of them all. Both PK representing Maestro Esca, Draz on the side of Team Secret Academy. But look at Asa. He just walked in, uncontested the server. And the Blitz follows him up as well. I wonder, do they see an opportunity to go quick? And they do. The plant's going down. They're not aware. They've committed too much to their own, Gibson, and it's not going to get denied. The C4 doesn't arrive either, and a 10-man up is going to be the case down.
Yeah, now Marto's got to be careful. There is someone top square that might be able to find a pick, but if you're on the defending side, you've got to go for a monumental retake. Inside of server, angles being held, verticality as well. Alems takes down Evan. This is unwinnable. There is no way that you can win this. Well, actually, maybe I am wrong. I want to be wrong, as we see Ranker begin to push down those stairs. You've got an angle being held, but the Goyo, that'll be popped. Off goes the oh my god, Whippet, they're going to win this? They're going to win this round. They're going for the defuse. Linku is sprinting down the stairs. He doesn't get one, and Maestro Esca do finally get around on the board.
1.07 seconds left on the diffuser while they get the job done. Gibson, you said unwinnable.
It was.
You said it was unwinnable, but it's a game of Siege. You never say anything, Gibson. That's why I will never call a strat. It's why I'll never say what bans teams will actually commit to. Because you just never know. What a moment it was. How have they found that round back? But the biggest thing for me is this gap was left open. They wandered in, simply meandered in a pleasant pace to server. They walk in this site, no one looks at them, no one shoots them, no one even sees them. And they get the case down. Miracles happen. And they open that well now to find their opening. But can they build upon this rock and found themselves back to parity? They need at least one more to be happy and take a 4-2 split. Ideally, they want to bring it back to level. Could this be the moment they build on for Team Secret Academy? Maybe questions asked if they skipped some steps. The hatch wasn't open. They saw a chance to go too quickly. Perhaps their own eagerness hurt them.
I think that round whippet is the perfect explanation of the old phrase, success was chasing them, but Team Secret Academy outran it. They managed to lose that round, and you know the way we spoke about the roam and how they went direct for sight with the roam? It was actually the retake from top square that won that round from Maestro Esca, catching the players on blue. So really good, and that might just be the mental kick up the backside that Maestro Esca needed to wake up and get into this game. One round down, two more, 3-3 half, suddenly things look just fine.
The scoreline can change a lot about the interpretation of a matchup, it feels now. Well, I'm very thankful that second nade did not find its mark, as Evan can now replace it. Well, I don't like to do this often, Gibson. I did say for Evan, it's critical to shake those cobwebs of what happened on Bank. Yet to do so. The only reason I'll talk about that is that's a mental factor, a soft one for this matchup. And Evan get himself out of his own head to find a way from it. Flashbangs go out, the first Lion scan goes, try to clear Ghost Riddick, likely playing inside of stock. Flashbang goes from him, they'll chew through the barricade, see him in the open, he doesn't even move! That's a freebie for Mardo! He'll take that every day of the week. He'll play and continue to have that pressure playing on top square. And the Lion scan goes out, drone spots the ward, and he'll try and make a final dash to safety, but Mardo finds a way to shut him down. Ranker gone. They need to find something, Evan's next to go, and Team Secret are like a tsunami crashing against the shores. One player still holding the counter repel. Two bodies standing on Maestro Esca, but locked in place from Presidential Office. They need to win their ones, but they're running out of options and space to do so. The drones spot them out, the windows cover their deep rotations, and Jay takes a beating from stock. Shut down by LMs. Nothing Den can do. The phenomenal one strikes again, and another round on this rampage for Team Secret Academy.
Oh my word, what a bounce back for Secret Academy, having lost that previous round, but what a performance. They are in a wonderful position. There's an old phrase with Vive la Resistance, Vive la France. Well, there's not much resistance being put up here at all by the side of Maestro Esca. This is the same problems, the same flaws, the same faults on Bank that we saw yesterday. And it's no surprise that Team Secret Academy have picked this map, right? You saw the match yesterday and you're like, we know that they're not going to change too much. If we pick Bank, we can take them down. And I feel like you said that the prep work and the coaching, their chance to win and lose the game is done before the match and during the ban phase. I'm really surprised that Maestro Esca let Bank get involved and play on it.
Same. I mean, the big thing for me is after I watched the result yesterday, I thought Bank for today was a no-go. And I genuinely thought that this was going to go very high on their ban preference. They've opted to try and correct it, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. Under 12 hours from end of their last matchup to now. And not every single hour of that was spent doing prep work. Because you can't physically do it. These players need to sleep, need to get themselves mentally reset. And you gotta feel that they haven't had the time to rebuild Bank in a way, and they've played the same way that Team Secret would have saw yesterday because they had the whole Saturday off. Feet up, relaxing, and enjoying it. Now, they seem to be getting all the reward from their hard work in that preparation stage. Round 6, last of the half, 4-1 scoreline. Open area. And they've realized that it's fairly open. They might be able to take this quickly. One player on the defense, actually inside of sight. A slow entryway. I know down below. No one's actually in sight. No one's even there.
And I like this from Feno too. How often do you see teams either rotate back down to basement when they're on the roam or have a player playing in that position? So Feno's got a decision to make now. Right, that door being barricaded tells you that there's going to be nobody playing inside of basement. So now you can begin putting pressure up those main stairs. You can think about anybody potentially rotating back. Even that hatch being soft feeds more and more information with it. I see a lot of soft spots on this defense for Maestroesca, and Team Secret Academy are going to be seeing the same things.
The drone they have established in Printer or just outside of it can see all of this control. Jay trying to keep himself immune to that drone network. Then we'll drop back in the site, and a minute 30 you'd imagine they begin to fall themselves back. Ranker will find that opening pick, and Feno a huge 1-2 find. The shield gains access upstairs by vending, will walk down marble. And Den will drop himself all the way down by bottom marble. The IQ has no idea he's there. Jay will try and crouch walk himself inside of deep. Hopefully those drones don't see him. Getting full value from that Fenrir. Spots the legs, has to try and re-engage. Riker takes a huge amount of damage from LMs. 60 seconds, Gibson. Team Secret Academy, for the first time, beginning to slow down, needing to solve some puzzles.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Just more patience being shown from Maestroesca. Now, yes, there was a lot of soft spots, but the actual defense itself is rock solid in and around the site. So you see the silhouettes below. What Team Secret Academy are hunting for is that pick that will allow them to drop the hatch, but the smoke canisters beginning to be deployed will chew away at time. Case in the hands of Marto. The Blitz needs to make a decision. Do you drop and go deep, or do you still hunt for that final kill? Because time is still a problem. Another smoke grenade whip it, and that's Jay finding a huge kill. This is much better from Maestroesca.
Jay's gonna hold his nerve perfectly. He's gonna remain undetected on that gadget, but this is gonna be a massive pivot, pushing everything towards Printer. Jay has a chance to find himself a second, but too early on the draw. He'll go deep to lay that corner and force out that peek from 90. Huge moment for Jay, finding himself 3 in the round. Ghost Riddick locks without a Maestroesca. Find themselves a second. The round that was a very desperate effort in the previous might just be the foundation that they can build this upon, as they will now move up to a 4-2 split. They take the offense, but that's what they needed. A flawless round. Builds momentum, will build the energy, and right now you need someone in that team speak to be the leader and say, we can beat them, we can do this, we can get it done. A team that has such a core identity on their attacking sides on a map like Bank. If they've ironed out their problems from yesterday, we might have a game on our hands again.
Is it enough though? Is a 2-4 scoreline enough for Maestroesca to close the gap? This is where the real problems were. We watched Kenny yesterday screaming at times at Maestroesca, saying they're going to do the same attack over and over again. They've banned the Kaid, they've banned the Valk. They do not want to get spotted. They want to get the element of surprise when they push in. But Whip It, the big one for me is talking about legacy and heritage of these players. You look at the French side, Asa, Marteau, and not to mention the player who has literally tasted success on the international scale, Elems. They have got so much history and heritage. But on the other side of the coin, like, you're talking about Denster. How many years ago was he playing inside for Ambush, inside the Nordics? Jay playing inside of GSA. Like, there's a big gap. But I do genuinely believe in my heart of hearts that Maestroesca can claw it back. But again, that's my heart. My head is screaming Secret Academy have got this in the bag.
It feels like it's a storyline for us whenever we jump on a mic for a qualification game for this one, Gibson. It is our head versus our hearts, and my head does say Team Secret Academy should be the team to get this done.
They should.
Should does a lot of heavy lifting there because my heart's really trying to overpower me. Listen, we have sent Evan to pro play once before when he's honored the moniker of Wild. And they do it again here. Ranker actually got to pick up the snake this time. Previously on Clubhouse, they flashed it a lot, never once bringing out the brand new operator. On a map like Bank, those larger rooms do mean you can get more information from it. They should spot the shadow out. Oh, the player is lurking from it. Shotgun primed and ready to take this fight. An odd thing, they don't want that smoke. They'll burn it with a nade. He'll force his fall back towards server. Hatch gets cracked open above him. They really don't want to lose any picks early. Biggest thing for the side of Maestroesca, just stay alive.
Two good decisions though. The aggression on dirt from Team Secret Academy was great. The decision to fall back and give up on it within 20-30 seconds, just as good. Maestro Eska, not, you know, flogging a dead horse. They've decided we need to move, we'll focus on it. That's a problem for later on inside the game. So clear the top floor, use the blitz to be the key person to do it. Den will lurk inside of lobby. The big one for me is that player inside elevator, right? Snake should know. In a second, he'll get the signal that there's a player on elevator, and there's a couple in open area as well. So look at the information he is gathering, the intel that he can feed to the likes of Zen, and Ranker will use that information to catch Veto, and the 6-4 demon will drop.
The real question for me, though, is can they act on clearing that elevator? I think the drop's already happened, so that's going to be a huge moment. They're going to try and charge in to get control of all open area. That will force the drop of this roam game extension. And that's exactly what we see. Minute 30. This is the ideal point to find it. Ranker gets himself a second one. The F2 truly is back, and he shreds one. That's Mardo gone. Defensive DMR eliminated. And we got to look at the defensive lineup right now. They do have the Goyo, so a massive amount of time denial. They haven't been able to clear them with the likes of a Twitch, so they have to worry about that with 3 toxic counters, 2 with 30 added seconds of denial. This might force them to drop deep. This might force them to go for an alternate plant position, because they might not be able to stick the default. And I wonder if that's going through the process right now. In these paused moments, this is the IGL's job to figure things out. What a pick there from Ghost Rick Lemsmex. A massive mistake overextending. And that's going to force an attempted dive up these marble stairs, Gibson. Can they retake before the execution even begins to arrive?
Well, there's 40 seconds left, and Smoke and is still on his feet, so Smoke can slow things down his asset, but he's got to win the battle over by elevator, pushing down marble stairs, doing a ton of damage onto the demos. But while this is going on, Ranker explodes into sight. Blitz is on the hunt as Asa will fell Evan, but Maestro Eska win the opening round, and it came from that 4-pronged approach on the attack. You get a couple of kills, you're in the 4v2. What do they do with it? Push down marble, drop inside of elevator, spread those final 2 players completely thin, and they might get 1 pick, but you're playing for the trade at that point.
And well, and just like that, in the blink of an eye, this matchup doesn't look like it did only a few moments ago. It's 4-3. Advantage still held by Team Secret Academy, but only by 1. And Maestro Eska, this is the thing I want to talk about. They're a team, and Gibson, you'll often agree to me here, that they definitely have a core style DNA, and that comes from, and I know we've glazed a lot on this broadcast, but comes from Evan. Evan, of course, you see that tie in his name, played with Wild. Wild had such an aggressive, unique style on the offense. Think about how they played Consulate in big matchups in EML just a few months ago. They were so aggressive. Players like Boomsy playing demo shotgun, charging up the stairs, all on command of Evan. They have that DNA here. So can they find a way to really exploit that? And he's going to pick away from the blitz on the Blackbeard. They're going to bring an Ace, going to bring a Nomad on Ghost Riddick this time. And actually, Jay opting to bring up the Dokkaebi instead of the Deimos this time. No committed hard breach. Actually, no, correction. They have double range hard breach. They can open up these walls, go for a default plant by Bookcase, and they can open up Kanto. But it might be denial by Fenos. Battery's on that double wall by Elevator.
I'm looking at the lineup here on the attacking side, and that player inside Janitor, it's going to be really hard to move when you don't have the likes of a Capitao, when you have nobody who can create a serious amount of vert from below. You can play as Marteau inside of Janitor as freely as you would like. So how are they going to deal with that player? They're going to have to do it other ways. Take control of square, take control of stock, then force that player to move. But you might ask, we're playing on square or top floor. Why is there double hard breach? It's as simple as this. Open up Kanto wall, create that highway that you can send ammo down, and do not let the players inside of stock and Janitor freely rotate from place to place.
Great job with the nade and secondary EMP sent from Lone Office. That's going to be a great job. Means Kanto gets opened up and you can hold that long angle deep towards vending. Means the player in elevator is going to be a little bit more uncomfortable. They've used the first Zoto canister to choke out this play and just to delay that wall. However, no one is in elevator. They've dropped away and they've fallen off that position. But they can use it for the late game to hold any rotations away from stock. The issue is you have to commit a player to a window at this point. That means there's one less active gun in the building. Evan will take his shield towards those windows, and I have a sneaking suspicion they're going to try and make an execution arrive via square. Ranker finds the opening pick. That's going to be Mordo found from those windows. That's Shamira gone, and one of those 3 Nitro Cell threats removed early. The DMR, though, finds one traded off at Asa. Huge pickup from him, but the shield of Blackbeard bears him down.
You got control of a second of Janitor, but all of a sudden the round is slipping away. Linku gets the headshot on the Denster, and the pop of that ingredient, that fire extinguisher, will allow for the cross. Yes, you know where the 2-bit owl is, but you cannot really do much about it. There's no nades left for Evan, and Asa, he's got an explosive of his own. The C4, that gets tossed, down falls Evan. Jay, though, walking up red, will find Fenno in a fight that Fenno had every right to expect to win, but it's 2 versus 3 now. One on the rappel, and going to swing on and gets the information, but Asa, he's still there. Like, the player's still there. You can't swing in, you're going to lose. Jay will find one, turns his attention to the other, but Alem swings with a shotgun, and Secret Academy restore their buffer.
This ain't Liquid, Jay. You can't fall off a 1v3 on Dokkaebi just like that one. So he's going to be locked down, and it's going to be a 5th round for Team Secret Academy. And you gotta feel that, again, the round started off so well from them. A great coordination of utility. They used the nade from Evan down below. They send that towards Elevator. They then have an EMP from Lone to make sure they get Kanto open. They open up Kanto. They commit a player to it. They get a great opening pick from the windows. But then they fall dead. The pressure from Square never arrives because Asa shuts it down with the DMR immediately. That's Ghost Riddick. He falls early. From there, they get picked off one by one from the windows, leaving Jay to make a deep rotation from lobby. With his teammate stuck on window, and he had to make that rappel, and even knowing that there was a DMR lurking by double window, because you have to have something happen. You can't trust Jay to do it all by himself. We find ourselves now in a position where now it looks a little bit dangerous. 2 rounds away, our Team Secret Academy from making it back to EML. Maestro Eska, long road to get back to parity, and a lot of ghosts, a lot of skeletons to shake from their mind right now.
Well, but look at the stat lines. If you look at the Maestro Eska players, the stat lines are so similar to what we saw yesterday on Bank. This map just not working the way they would want it to. Now, let's give full credit to the likes of Ranker. He is doing his darn hardest to get them back inside the game, but it's going to take all hands. One player cannot do it all by themselves. So, next round on the attack. Whip it, we're going down to the basement, but it's going to be a full map roam and clear that both of these teams are going to have to work together on.
Not going to be easy. I love this lineup. We saw this yesterday from Maestro Eska. Very heavy hatch drop style execute. I like to plant off default positions to do so. That's all going to be down to Sens with Ranker. Those light walls, so important for what they want to do. Evan's fire and smoke going to be key as well to make things happen. The first can opener used by Ranker opens up that hatch and open area. And at this stage, you're likely going to expect to play an elevator. They now know it. They'll drop away immediately. Great play from Linko. Doesn't need to extend his time, but the biggest thing now is they have to now re-drone that and make double sure he's gone. They do that quickly, but every second counts at a point like this. And have they got open area control yet? No. They're still waiting. They have to be very careful, and they're cautious of an aggressive push up marble stairs.
Yeah, they're really slowing down now. 1.5 minutes. It's still a lot of time. It's still half of the round to work with. But when it comes to actually pressuring site, they have made 0 real impact. Only now are they starting to extend into open area and get those important hatches open. Pre-fire there in red, hoping to catch a freebie, but getting those projectors down with it is the smart thing to do. This is the setup for the execute to cut off those lines of sight later in the round.
Of course, you can not activate them yet. You can just have the single projectors laid out on that ground, and this is where they have to set themselves up nicely. Huge damage done. Bravery from, I believe, Moro to peek the hatch LMs, using one of those C4s to just send it up, and that's going to be your sends gone. I talked about it. A key part of this execution is being slain. With 1 minute left to work with, they have time to pivot and figure things out. But you gotta wonder what they can do. Goyo canisters popped and burning. 2 players in ramp, 1 player contesting elevator. And it looked like Den was positioned for a drop via elevator hatch. That could be a problem. Oh my goodness, Ghost Riddick, what? Feno gone. Massive pickup. Counter DMR picked up as well. And they're trying to burn whatever they can at this stage. Gives them 30 seconds. They might need Ghost Riddick to go even bigger for his side here.
Yeah, it's all systems go, but the smoke is there. Denster finds a kill when it matters most, and this is where you gotta go. It's an attempted retake from Linku, but Jay was aware. Evan going for the plant, taking a ton of damage, but get out of there, Evan. You can't forfeit your life. 3-2 now in numbers. 12 seconds to go. Another attempted replant, but this time no toxic beams. The shotgun, it'll find one. It gets the second. Sprint away, run away. Den, it is looking like it's over. Tucked around the corner. Time
time is the enemy. Team Secret Academy win another round, and the miracle, the Cinderella story, it's looking more like a nightmare.
A nightmare for Maestro Eska as they find themselves forced to be flawless. Map, series, and qualification point all stacked upon the shoulders of the French roster of Team Secret Academy. Den, you gotta feel that he saw the headlines. If he had half a second more, he could have saved his team and got them one step closer to parity. But, well, I don't speak French, Gibson, so you might have to read that one for me. But it comes down to this. Can Maestro Eska be flawless now on attack? No more mistakes, no more misplays, no more miscommunications. Hell, don't even pull a Corey. They need everything to line up for them now.
Oh, there's that lovely shot, but whip it. It is all coming down to this now. I don't think people realize how big of a game this is. Yes, winning open quals for SI is phenomenal. It's brilliant to get a seat at the high table and compete. But that's just a one-off. That is just a week of your life. You win this game, you secure Tier 1 Siege for an entire year. You go from playing in Tier 2 competitions against teams and players that are grinding to make it up to facing G2, Secret, GK. You're going to get a seat at the high table in earnest if you win this matchup. This is a career maker of a game.
And it comes down to what could be one round here. For all these players, you gotta feel like this is where the weight of great expectations begin to sit upon you. No player thinks you're gonna lose a game when they load into that server. At least all the good ones. You gotta feel now.
Some of the players on TT9 were alright, but they knew that they were going to lose a lot of games when they logged into the server.
Listen, as we speak about that TT9 roster, I think the better for all of us who have memories of EML. But it's down to this, though. Yeah. Can they be locked in and ready for this? You gotta imagine, again, and this is what I really want to highlight, this an unfortunate stat to think about. Evan, he took the responsibility for his team yesterday and said he didn't play good enough on Bank. He hasn't shaken those cobwebs, it feels. But never too late to find a moment. Never too late to unlock the door and be a hero your side oh so desperately needs. They'll drop down, commit themselves away from Janitor at this point. That was a drop of Mardo. Pulls all utility. Fenno on the Thorn. Again, these Thorns are going to be so pesky to deal with. Twitch going to be key for that. Formation spotted towards Elevator. EMR can't find its mark yet. But a very slow down, more cautious approach here from Maestro Eska.
And they've got to change something, but you know, Kenny called it yesterday. They've got a default tech when they go to this one. They love just going in the window and going through those archives. This time the setup's a little bit different. It's more of a vertical establishment attack. And this is what we've been yearning for. Give us a different look. Show us something different. Show us you're not a one-trick pony. Because Team Secret Academy are expecting the archives push. Like, look at the positions they're taking. Inside a reception. Inside of archives and tellers itself. They want Maestro Eska to go for that push. A minute and 15 seconds to go. Virtually no inroads have been made whatsoever. Maestro Eska, this is do or die. This is your whole year up in arms.
Team Secret Academy just inviting that pressure on. Ghost Riddick finds the opening, and that's going to shut down Alems, and I think a case of itchy feet. Alems not content to sit still and hold his ground, and he'll lose his life for it. He'll hop immediately on that pre-placed bulletproof camera and will feed an envoy of information to his team. Down below, the Fenrir will shuffle utility to begin to figure out where plays are. And can they get this done now, Gibson? Business end of this round, 40 seconds, and you gotta wonder, can they find this? He sees one shot! Ranker's gonna get shut down with the TCSG. Give me 30 seconds, we're back to level parity! One player down now for Maestro Eska.
Oh, Jay gets a double whip, but it's a 4v2, but Riddick is DBNO. This is huge. This is so big for Maestro Eska, but they've got to deal with Fenno and Asa. That TCSG, that thing is power. That thing is deadly. That thing is a weapon, and it is a 2 versus 2. Fenno still holding above. It's going to be a sprint through. Another kill. It's a 1v1. Your lives are in the hands of Jay. You've got 4 seconds. No chance. Phenomenal from Fenno. Team Secret Academy, welcome to NA, or welcome to EML, and well, what can we say with it but to Alems, welcome back.
A return to the top flight of European competition for a winner of a major and a debut for some of the best talent there are. We mentioned he is the phenomenal one. Veto sends his team to the biggest tournament inside of Europe. What a moment for this team, Gibby. And you just gotta feel that they've earned this so much. They were so effective. They were so dominant on Bank in particular. Take a bow. Take a bow, Team Secret Academy.
Oh, vive les France, allez, Secret Academy, Marto, Asa, Feno, Linku, and Alems. We will see you in a couple of weeks at the high table of EML. But whip it, they deserved it. Yes, it was a 2-0. Everyone would have wanted more of a spectacle. But the way that game went really shows how much they earned that one.
They earned it very much, but Gibby, guess what? We will be able to speak to a winner of this team to see how they feel after that moment they finally qualified to EML. But before we do that, we'll sort everything out. We'll be back with Milos after this quick little break.
Welcome back, friends, to Challenger Series, and can you believe it? We are done. A few days of competition here at Challenger Series, and EML has qualified 2 teams on to the next season and the 2026 season of EML, the Europe MENA League, and now we have it confirmed. Our Frenchmen are joining. Team Secret Academy are confirmed, and they will be the second squad to move it in. Gibby, Whippet, we're going to talk about all of these happenings here because it feels like there's players that we really have to be watching for this next season of EML, eh?
I just want to say it. Feno was brilliant all the way through that one. Marteau stood up winning multiple 1v1s, but what I loved most about that game on Bank was not only the dominance of the performance, but there was no superstar. Like, if you look at the stat lines of every single player come that final round, everybody impacted, everybody got kills when they mattered, and it was a team effort.
You put it perfectly. This was a great display of a team performance. You know, Feno had a huge individual moment on the opening half of Clubhouse, and this was a better example of how the team functions together as one unit, and they were perfectly prepared and ready for everything. And Maestro Eska threw at them, and they adapted perfectly. Even think about the time they got the plant down with 10 players standing. They saw the gap, took the gap, couldn't convert it, but they were still quick enough to be able to take full advantage. This is a team that is very committed to that one cause, and I cannot wait to see what they can do in EML.
History has been made. It's crazy that we've gotten to this point so quickly. It seems like only yesterday all 3 of us were sitting here with 8 teams still in competition, not really knowing exactly who would be qualifying. We had our own ideas, we had our own predictions, but may I just say that in one way or another they were at least shattered, and I think that's for the better. We just end up having incredible matches and stories where at the end of it you could not have predicted 4 days ago before we got to this here point of qualified 2 teams into EML. Though, Whippet, we have to just close it at this point. And you did give us a promise that we would be speaking to a certain specific person. And I say that this would be a very good time to go for it. Let's bring him up. Alems joining us on our call. Alems, my friend, it has been a while since you and I have had a chat. Welcome back, champ. How you doing?
I'm feeling very good, thank you. And I'm here to be back. I'm happy.
Yeah.
I can only imagine. All right, I'll give it over to the boys. Whippet, you got something for us first?
I mean, obviously, massive congratulations, but you came into this team as very much the legacy player with all the experience. How has it felt to be a mentor to some of these younger guys? And you've now took them as a pickup roster playing in Tier 2 events to all the way to EML. How does it feel being in that mentor-style position?
To be honest, last year, like the start of the last year, like 2025, it was very hard for me because I got dropped from Ants, and it was very hard for me to go back into the game. Like I didn't like I was a bit like upset and stuff. So I did like a small break, and I came back and I joined them because I knew that Marto, Linko, they have great individualities and they have like hunger to win. They are very, very hungry for win, you know. I feel that at the start, and that's why I joined them. And we tried to work with the team we had at this time. Things didn't go that well because, you know, those guys, like, they are hard worker, but they were starting from the bottom, like knowledge-wise, you know, about the game. So I took this role to, like, not teach them because obviously they know how to play the game, but to try to learn them a bit about how it is in a pro environment, you know, like how you work, how you prepare the match and stuff. And I think that was my goal. And I told them, guys, if we do this and you just respect the work as a team and stuff, the mentality we have, everything, I can assure you we can make EML easily. And it was very hard at the start because like the level of T2 guys, it's really insane. Like I'm thinking about like Project Zero, now Chicks, they beat us all the year. This team is totally insane. And we beat them like yesterday or the day before, I don't know. Even Panihone, like this team like is insane. They dominate the T2. Like I don't know, like it was so hard. But you know, we we kept the mental and we win when it matters the most, you know. And that's why that's what I try to teach them, you know, that all the year doesn't matter if you focus on that tournament and you give everything for that tournament.
Well, first off, félicitations to a retour au EML. So I'm sure you're going to be really happy with that after what's been a long time away. But Alems, you might not know this, but you and Whippet and I go back quite a long way. Our first ever international event was Gamers 8, where you got success having won that event. And then shortly after that, you had success as well at a major, being one of the most successful French players of all time. But I want to know, when you compare the feeling of winning those events to kind of the feeling of the redemption arc of now proving your way and getting back into EML, like, how are you feeling personally right now after what you've been through to get back to EML?
To be honest, I don't believe it. Like I said, like, I don't know, like everything went so fast, like in a short time. Like I said, we were so, like, we are not even in the top 1 or top 2 T2 teams. Like I said, like Project Zero and Panione, sorry, were. So we had like so much work to get back, you know, like to catch up, sorry. So I don't know, but like since the last 3 weeks, I don't know, we are working, like every practice was like so good. We tried a lot of things. We find the composure of the team, because for me, like, it's very important to have a good composure. Like, you can have like one guy, for me, for example, it's more about experience. You can have like 1 or 2 gunners, of course, and you have obviously need to have some smart guys, you know. And I can feel that role, but Asa is also, as long as Marto, Linko and Feno are more about gunfights. And I think having a good team is first good environment, good mentality, and of course having a good composure, you know. If everyone is like playing good on their role and doing what they are supposed to do, like very good, I mean, it's easy, you know. So for me, like, yeah, it's all about that. Like, I'm so happy, guys, to be honest. Sorry, like, I feel a bit tired and stuff because like I don't
It's
realize,
normal.
you know, I don't realize, but it's like I'm so happy, really.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know,
It's
know.
to
It
be
was,
expected.
like this year was like so hard. I don't know, like, oh my god, like, I don't know.
Is there any team you're looking forward to playing against when you kick off EML again?
To be honest, all the teams. I'm not. I don't want to play a team in particular. Sorry, in particular.
Yeah.
But yeah, I but yeah, I'm looking forward to play all the teams. Like some teams will be a great match. Of course, I will try to bring again my experience on this, because EML games, of course, are different. So it will be another environment, another way to work, to prepare, and to play. So I will help these guys, and we will try to do our best, and that's it.
Looking forward to it. Thank you very much, LM. It's been a while since we had a chat, and now we get to do it to say congratulations and welcome back to EML. I'll let you go, rest up, relax, celebrate with your partner, family, whatever you wish to do. We're all going to go ahead and clean things out on our side. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Here we are, my friends. It is all locked in. It's good to hear from LMs after so long, and I think it's time for us to go through that bracket one final time and recap it for all the fans out there. Now, let's split it up between both of you. Gibby, can you take us through the upper bracket, please?
Yeah, so the upper bracket kicked off with almost every result going the way that we would have expected, the favorites winning their games, and it left us with some very tasty semi-finals where I think Maestro Eska performed the first big upset of the tournament, knocking Certified Skids into the lower bracket, and then GG Aleti, they continued their dominant run all the way through to the final, winning it 2-1 and being the first of 2 full region rosters to make it all the way through to the grand final. But the lower bracket, that's where things got really heated for a lot of these teams.
Listen, I love a little bit of a lower bracket run for teams, and this is where things got intense. Team Secret Academy, of course, your victors, went 2-1 against Order to Shield, a very closely contested match when it back. Myth, a side that I almost picked as kind of my underdogs for this, quickly made an exit against Diavoli, and of course, we follow Team Heretics, who they beat Diavoli, and then the matchup that I think shocked everybody with expectations that Heretics would take their experience from SI and go to EML, well, Team Secret Academy, are now graduatees in EML, beat Team Heretics in what was one of the best matches I have watched for a long time. Both teams tested each other to the absolute limit, and this lower bracket was an amazing journey to follow. And I think looking at how these results played out, Team Secret Academy played their heart out, and they truly deserved their ticket to EML.
Wonderful, my friends. We talked about the tops, talked about the bottoms, and we talked about the two teams that qualified into EML. By that I mean brackets. Well, I don't know why you people laugh and snicker in the background, but there is a future that is plenty shining for our two teams that have just qualified to EML. All 10 teams are now locked in for the region. And hey, may the best team win, and may the best really be able to qualify to the next chapter in Salt Lake City in Utah. For those out there that still want to make it to the US and really enjoy what it's like to be at a Siege event, make sure you're grabbing your tickets and getting ready for that. But if anything, this should just be your wake-up call to watch more Tier 2 Siege if you have not done so in the past. There's a lot that happens here that has a massive impact in every single region, because these teams that you've been seeing, even though they didn't qualify to EML, they're scrim partners with every squad in professional play. This is how professional play is built anyways, because of this rock solid community that we have in competition, and it goes the same way for every single region out there. Speaking of which, we might be done for today in our show for EML this weekend, but things are not done in general. Before us, it was APL closing out their own kind of set for Challenger Series, but there are still 2 more regions that are looking at their own teams, because 9Z and INTZ are playing for their playoff spot in Challenger Series to qualify to BR6. That'll be happening in just under a couple of hours. The round of friends, I believe it'll be Hap, Chamberlain, and Anne that will be taking you through that, and then NAL, that'll be of course the NA crew over with Mr. Jay-Z Wills. Anyways, thank you so much, Gibby and Whippet, for joining me this weekend. It's been an absolute pleasure discussing everything that has to do with EML and its future and how things are in Challenger Series. We just have to end it here. All good things must come to an end. I'm very bad with goodbyes, my friends, and I think that's a good thing for in one way or another. Though, thanks so much. We love you. We'll see you for some more action all throughout Challenger Series in this weekend with SAL and NAL, and hopefully in the future for the direct regions very soon. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Rainbow Rumble. That's who you want as your opening pick. Duck could dive around this bomb chassis, and he will win his one. Oh, vaulting the catwalk on the side of Booster, but it's going to be a flurry of kill feeds.
This is looking pretty good, but that's good for Mercury.
Basically, it's passion.
Gets the diffuser down. Shed there with a covering angle as well. Jacques now removed. Got one back, but can't quite get away from it.
He gets the kill, and it's a 1v1 weapon.
It is siege, isn't it?